This is lesson 15.1 and we're learning about inventory with various methods that I'm going to be teaching you. Inventory systems. So perpetual inventory systems keeps a running account of inventory but updating with each transaction. A lot of computer systems keep track of this, through checkouts and different things. And then a periodic inventory system relies on a physical count of inventory done periodically. Whenever I ask students when I'm teaching, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh yeah, I've helped count inventory before, as well as I've done the same thing." So I think a lot of people have experienced that on the job. So we're starting with the specific identification method. This method calculates the cost of ending inventory by identifying each item remaining to invoice price. So a lot of times this is for high cost items such as uh, automobiles, right? Jewelry, antiques, and so on. And basically you just calculate the cost of the goods that were for sale, the cost of the ending inventory, and then the cost of goods sold. So some of this terminology is going to be for all the methods, right? That we're going to have a total cost of the goods to begin with. We're going to have the cost of what's in the inventory at the end of the year. And then the cost of goods sold is the difference between the two. How much did we sell that year? So we had this much available, we sold this much, and here's what then we sold this much, and then this was what we had at the end. So we're starting with the specific identification method and just showing you an example of how we calculate this. And this one we don't calculate maybe as on as many problems as you would some of the other methods. So first we have to complete this chart. Okay, so notice that we're going to find the cost of ending inventory, that's part A, and then part B is the cost of goods sold, which honestly the cost of goods sold should always just be a subtraction. There's another way to do it that's more complicated, but there's no need to do that. Just subtracting is a good way to go. So first let's calculate, and you'll see that I left this box empty, so we have to do this quite a few times, but we're going to take 18 X boxes times 285. And so the amount for March 1st is 5,130. On April 1st, there are 42 X boxes put into inventory, right? So 42, and the cost was 240 each. And that's a total of 10,080. 10,080. And then on May 1st, we purchased 55 X boxes at $255 each. And that totals 14,025. Now we also want to know this total. How much was the total cost of what we put into inventory on those 3 dates? And that amount would be 29,235. Okay. So now let's work with our ending inventory. So I think I want to put ending inventory just right here because we have it right below that. So 3 boxes from March. Well, maybe we'll just do it over here. We'll have more space. So from March, we have 3 X boxes, and they were 285 in March, and we'll calculate that. And then for April, and this is what's left right in the ending inventory, we have 16 for April at 240 each. And for May, we have 10 boxes left, X boxes left. So that's 255. Okay, so 855, then 3,840, because we had 16 of those, remember, 2,550, And this is our ending inventory, right? So cost of ending inventory. Oops. I'm just going to abbreviate that. Will be 7,000. We just total those up. $7,245. So that's how we find the cost of ending inventory. And then we want to find part B, which is cost of goods sold. It just helps a lot if you understand what am I talking about. Okay, so we had a total amount for the year of $29,235, or for those 3 months whenever you're doing this inventory. We have this much left in our ending inventory, $7,245. The cost of the goods sold, how much do we sell? It's just the difference between those two. So we take the 29,000 and subtract the 7. So our cost of goods sold is $21,990. And that's method number 1, specific identification. Here's the next method called weighted average. And that's truly what we're finding. We're going to find a weighted average, meaning we're going to add up all the items that we have and the cost of those and do a division. So notice it says calculate the average unit cost, and right here shows you how to do that. Total cost of goods available divided by the total number of units for sale. And then step 2, calculate the cost of ending inventory and calculate the cost of goods sold. I always feel like this is one of the easiest ones, but it's not unless you round it correctly. So make sure that you round whenever you're finding this. Okay, so first thing we have to do is put in all our numbers. Now, these are the same numbers from the previous chart, so you can always just copy those over if you want to. I'm going to just pause for a moment and put those on there, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I put all the numbers on the chart just to save a little bit of time. Total cost was the $29,235, and there were a total of 115 X boxes. So now we're going to take that for part A to find the cost of ending inventory, and we have to find the average cost of the X boxes. So we're going to take the $29,235 and divide it by 115 and round it to dollars and cents. The average cost is $254.22. This is just like a weighted average, which we've done before, right? That's what this is. So $254.22 is the unit cost. When you're looking at these numbers, this should make sense. It fits, right? It fits within there. Our lowest cost was $240, our highest was $285. This is $254.22. You always want to look at the numbers in business math to see, do these make sense? And yes, it does. When you calculate, you want to re-enter this number. So if you had any trailing decimals after the decimal right there on your calculator, you don't want to calculate with those. So round it and re-enter the number 254.22, or your answer will be off because you didn't round. So it's 7,372.38, and that is our cost of ending inventory, right? So cost of ending inventory right there. Okay. Now we're going to do the cost of goods sold, and that is simply $29,235 minus our ending inventory of $7,372.38, and cost of goods sold is $21,862.62. Okay, so weighted average method, we've worked through that method. Okay, so the next method is called first in, first out. We abbreviate it as FIFO. You want to make sure you say it right or you'll get really confused. So first in, first out basically says it assumes the first inventory brought into the store will be the first sold. Ending inventory is made up of goods most recently purchased. And for that, you just have to understand on the chart of numbers that you're given, where do I go to do my calculations? So it says part one lists the units to be included in the ending inventory and their costs. Calculate the cost of goods sold. Okay, so first in, first out. Now think about this. This would be a food would be a good example here. If you're selling foods, you want to sell the stuff you got in first, or it's going to spoil. So it would make sense that that's what we're going to do. One trick that I try to remind students of is you can think of first in, first out. Okay, so first in was March 1st. That means that those are probably gone. Next were the Aprils. I would say most of those are gone, and so on. So I actually start my calculating at the bottom of the chart with the June. That's where I start. And that can be confusing. If you'll just think opposite, it says first in, go to the last things that came in, and that's where you'll calculate your ending inventory. I'm going to fill the chart out real quick and then come back. Now notice on this chart for this method, I went ahead and put one more line for June 1st. So I added a little bit to the chart. And I did that for a reason, because I wanted you to have to navigate the number of units a little bit more than you would have had to if I didn't have that line on there. So for part A, we're going to figure the cost of the ending inventory. Now remember, first in, first out means I'm going to go to the bottom of the chart. So I'm going to start with June. And in June, we had 11 X boxes left. So we're going to take 11 times 270. Now we're trying to get a total of 29 units that are in our ending inventory. So that's going to be 2970. And then for May, so in May, there are 55 units left, but I don't need 55 more. I need 29 minus 11, which would be 18. So from the May category, there's only 18 of those left. So I'm going to take 18 times 255, and that would be 4590. So my ending inventory is 7,560. And then my cost of goods sold is going to be my total. Oh, I didn't write my total on here. I'm going to have to scoot that down. I actually did have the total on my other slides, 32,205. So part B will be the 32,205 minus my 7,560. So the cost of my cost of goods sold is 24,645. So remember, part A, ending inventory, the cost of ending inventory, and then part B is the cost of goods sold. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video and then pick this up on the next one. The next example goes along with the same chart.